Do you remember the first time we met? Do you remember how strange it felt? Do you remember the first words you said? Do you remember the questions I asked? Do you remember the first touch we shared? Do you remember the thrill in the air? Do you remember the warmth we held tight? Do you remember our kiss that night? Do you remember the coldness that grew? Do you remember the first lie you told? Do you remember your gaze turned away? Do you remember the first tears I cried? Do you remember the first touch we shared? Do you remember the thrill in the air? Do you remember the warmth we held tight? Do you remember our kiss that night? Do you remember the coldness that grew? Do you remember the first lie you told? Do you remember your gaze turned away? Do you remember the first tears I cried?